This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, visit LibriVox.org. Read for LibriVox by Shelley Brisbane. Chapter 41. Mrs. Vernon to Lady de Courcy.
Churchill. My dear Madam, your letter has surprised me beyond measure. Can it be true that they are really separated, and forever? I should be overjoyed if I dared depend on it, but after all that I have seen, how can one be secure? And Reginald really with you? My surprise is the greater because on Wednesday, the very day of his coming to Parklands, we had a most unexpected and unwelcome visit from Lady Susan. Looking all cheerfulness and good humour, and seeming more as if she were to marry him when she got to London than as if parted from him forever. She stayed nearly 2 hours, was as affectionate and agreeable as ever, and not a syllable, not a hint was dropped of any disagreement or coolness between them. I asked her whether she had seen my brother since she arrived in town, not, as you may suppose, with any doubt of the fact, but merely to see how she looked. She immediately answered without any embarrassment that he had been kind enough to call on her on Monday, but she believed he had already returned home, which I was very far from crediting. Your very kind invitation is accepted by us, and with pleasure, and on Thursday next we and our little ones will be with you. Pray heaven Reginald may not be in town again by that time. I wish we could bring dear Frederica too, but I am sorry to say that her mother's errand hither was to fetch her away, and, miserable as it made the poor girl, it was impossible to detain her. I was thoroughly unwilling to let her go, and so was her uncle, and all that could be urged we did urge. But Lady Susan declared that as she was now about to fix herself in town for several months, she could not be easy if her daughter were not with her, for masters, her manners, to be sure, were very kind and proper, and Mr. Vernon believes that Frederica will now be treated with affection. I wish I could think so too. The poor girl's heart was almost broke at taking leave of us. I charged her to write to me very often, and to remember that if she were in any distress, we should be always her friends. I took care to see her alone, that I might say all this, and I hope made her a little more comfortable. But I shall not be easy until I go to town and judge her situation myself. I wish there were a better proposal than now appears at the match which the conclusion of your letter declared your expectation of. At present, it is not very likely. Yours, Catherine Vernon.
End of chapter 41. This has been a LibriVox recording of Lady Susan, a novel by Jane Austen, read for LibriVox by Shelley Brisbane.